How's it going, guys? It's your boy Yarimi. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to find a trade after price has moved away from your pro trend higher time frame POI. So if price has tapped into your POI and it's moved away, how do you now find the trade if price is not in a POI? Now, before we get into all of that, use my code Yarimi for 120% refund off of all of your funded next prop firm accounts. Click the link in the bio and use my code Yarimi for 20% off any TradeZella subscription. If you want to journal your trades, that is the best place to go. Let's get into the video. Okay, let's say for example, pro trend, price was bearish. Price was forming lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, lower highs. Okay, perfect. In this scenario here, what do we have? We have a supply zone that price has come and mitigated. Whenever you wake up and you open the charts, guys, you're not always going to see price in the most beautiful discounted region. You're not going to see price in the most beautiful supply region. What are you going to see? You are going to see price sometimes within a POI, or you are going to see price having moved off from a POI like this. But let's just say, for example, you've seen price at this current point here. You've opened the charts, you've woken up in the morning, London session, you've opened the charts and you've seen price right here. What do you do in this scenario? Do you just sit on your hands and be patient? Because that is a correct option to do, of course. But how can you maximize the possibilities of finding correct entries? This is how you do it. Pay attention. I want to go through two examples with you guys that will aid you and assist you for whenever you feel lost on where to even find the trade from, because the zones are already mitigated. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you guys is trend lines, and we know that we use trend lines as liquidity pools. We wait for these zones to be taken out. Why? Because retail see a trend line of 3 taps to be a respected level, meaning what? Whenever price comes back in there, is going to sell off. Why? Because the 3 taps makes it a respected zone. However, we believe that this is false information. We are not delusional. Of course, we understand all strategies work. They are very subjective. So sometimes everybody and their strategy must be given hope, okay? A temporary amount of hope. In this scenario, we take this as a level of liquidity, so we are waiting for an inducement of this level. Okay, so number one is whenever you see a level of trend line being built up, this is one thing that can actually add to your confluence. Now, one thing I want to severely stress is a way that you can know if your re-entry is valid is by simply understanding who's in control. What do I mean by this? If I know buyers are in control of this market, okay, I know buyers are in control of this market right here, I'm not going to expect an inducement of these highs and then price to absolutely dump. Why? Because buyers are in control. Sorry for my diagrams. So if I understand buyers are in control, I can't expect the opposing move. Therefore, what can I expect? I can expect price to possibly create a medium inducement here, tap into a discounted level right here, and then push up from here, inducing point A, B, and C, for example. Okay, that's the correct way to see things. So when I say you have to understand who's in control, it's because this is literally going to aid you whenever you are seeing pools of liquidity being built up, because you now know, okay, is this a pool of liquidity that is against my bias, or is this a pool of liquidity that is for my bias? And let's say, for example, pro trend, price was bearish already. Okay, price was bearish. We know, okay, although these movements are complementing my bias, meaning what? I'm receiving bearish intent. Bearish intent, bearish intent. Price is making lower lows. Even though I am seeing this clearly, I'm not oblivious to the fact that early sellers or late sellers also must be given hope. Therefore, what do I wait for? I wait for an inducement of those highs to then tap into something like a premium supply for price to sell off from, okay? But let's get more into that a bit later on. So that's just the very, very basic understanding of how we use the inducements of trend lines. So next up, we're going to go through what? The inducements of break and retest traders. Say, for example, now price was bearish, okay? Lower highs, lower lows. Oh, price breaks a level like this. There are traders around the world who are waiting for price to pull back in, mitigate this zone, and then absolutely sell off from there. Why? Because we understand, and we speak about it time and time again, that People trade support and resistance. It's the absolute basics everyone is taught the moment they start trading Forex. Resistance is the ceiling, support is the floor. Whenever price pushes up, it hits resistance. This acts as if it's a wall. Imagine there is a bouncy ball. You bounce it on the floor, it hits the wall, comes back, bounces on the ground. If there is enough force, it will carry on bouncing up, down to support, up to resistance, down to support, up to resistance, down to support. Now, if support is broken, the support now becomes resistance. It acts as a new resistance and price moves off. Now, why is this information relevant? Why is this basic level introductory information relevant? It's simply because whenever we are incorporating the break and retest method as a buildup of liquidity, we want to understand the mechanics behind it, which is what? We have price pushing down, breaking support, breaking retail support, price pushing up, mitigating retail support, price pushing off. Notice this, it's just a mitigation. It's just a tap of the previous support that is now resistance. We now understand, okay, it hasn't even come into a premium price. It's just tapped and moved off. So already we understand this is an area where there is a large influx of retail action, retail selling going on right here, okay? Because it's not even at a premium price. So we understand this is an area that we must target. If I flip the chart, it's the opposite for a bullish bias. Okay, price has a low, it creates a high, it breaks above the previous high. Okay, price breaks above resistance. This old resistance now becomes support. Price pulls back in, taps into it and pushes off. Okay, we understand price must now pull back in to tap into a deeper level of discount before pushing up. Okay, so this is a very, very basic understanding. Now let's incorporate this into a actual scenario. Let's say we have a situation here like the daily time frame. Okay, we're going to label this the daily time frame. Okay, because we have this as the daily time frame, let's say pro trend price was bearish. Price is making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Okay, and now we are out of the daily zone. And now what do we have? We have internal structure forming what? Higher highs and higher lows. Is price bullish? Yes. It is internally, not pro-trend, not overall. Now, let's say, for example, we have a mitigation of a daily supply. What do we have now? Number one, we have something called the reveal of market intent. The reveal of market intent simply shows you who's in control. Number two, what do we have? We have internal structure confirming a retracement through a change of character and multiple breaks of structures to the upside to finally reach the desired point, which is what? The daily level of supply. From here, you have the confirmation of the retracement. And now we are waiting for what? We are waiting for the first step to happen all over again, which is what? The reveal of market intent. So whenever price is revealing its intent, price will move fast. Price will be very intentional about its movement. It will be very, very intentional and it will make things clear. But whenever price isn't clear, price is not showing you who's in control, it will move very slow in the retracement phase. And we'll get more into that in another video. But overall, let's go back to the point. Now we have the same phase repeating itself. We have the reveal of market intent. So now let's say, okay, price retraces, boom, pushes off again. Price retraces, forms a what? A lower high. But this lower high has now mitigated what? A level of supply. It's mitigated the level of supply. Let's just say, for example, this is a H4 supply zone. For example, okay? H4 supply zone. And now price has moved off temporarily from there. And now we take our vertical line tool. Let's just say, hypothetically, this vertical line represents 8 a.m. London session. So because this vertical line is at 8 a.m. London and price has already mitigated a H4 supply, showing us who's in control time and time again, we understand that this is not a zone where we can possibly expect price to push back all the way and mitigate the same level again. It's very, very unlikely that's going to happen. So what do we wait for when price has moved off from a POI? We simply incorporate those two methods. There are many, many more, but today we'll just go through two. So in this scenario now, okay, let's just say that overall was a H4 supply. And now on the 1 minute, this is what I want to see. This is a variant of what I want to see. So let's say, for example, now, what do we have? We have a level of trend line being built up. And then what do we have from the trend line? We have price breaking structure once again. So because this is happening within my time window, I can now classify this as a inducement, and I know that once an inducement takes place, there must be opposing movement. Why? Because there is a pool of liquidity here that was swept. So now we can expect the opposing movement to target what? To target the level of trend line and then possibly tap into what? A level right above here. And now price can do this, tap in, mitigate, inducing the trend line, and then moving off from here. And this is something that I call unintentional movement. We'll get into that in another video possibly. Okay, so that is how to use trend lines. Okay, how to use trend lines when price is pushed off from your POI already. Okay, so London session opens up, for example, you see a level of trend line being generated, you see price breaking a low. You're not thinking, oh my days, price has left me. Why? Because you understand there is a level of liquidity that price must come back here to collect. So now what do? So don't worry if price moves off from here, no problem. It's the same things have to repeat itself. Liquidity must be generated and liquidity must be taken. If you understand this, you will never worry. Okay, so now let's get into the second example of what we mentioned, which is what? The break and retest. So now in this scenario, how can we utilize the break and retest method to understand if we are trading from a correct zone? Okay, so 8 a.m. opened up, price opens up, price makes a low, price pulls back in and makes a low. Perfect. So price broke this low, pulled back up, respected what? Temporarily the previous retail level of support that has now become resistance, and now price has pushed off from there. This should give you the utmost confidence. Why? Because you now understand, okay, there is a level of liquidity that price must target and hunt for me to be able to take sales again. So in this scenario, it's the same thing again. I'm waiting for price to take out that low right there, okay? It takes out that low, and now price is pushing back up to mitigate a deeper level of premium supply. It induces this structural high and then it pushes off, giving you a trade. So that is how to use trendline liquidity and the break and retest pool of liquidity to allow you to find setups even though price has pushed off from your original POI. If this video was of any benefit to you, please click the subscribe button. We are trying to hit 100K ASAP, and also leave a comment down below on what you found beneficial in this video. I've been your boy Yarimi. Take care and peace.